How's it going? This is the Poor Sports Seattle podcast, and for the first time, we are doing a comedians roundtable episode, which is an idea that I came up with last year, and then I hoped everyone would forget about it. And then I think I think Andrew was the one that remembered it, and I was like, God, I do like the idea. Andrew Rivers, Cory Michaelis here with me.
Did any listeners remember?
I don't think so. Hold on, there we go. Now it's got our names up there. So we're all Seattle sports fans. That's the most important part to this. All Seattle sports fans and all comedians of varying degrees of quality. Andrew's the worst. Cory's the best. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Casey's always the middle.
That's actually, that is true.
I'm always like
top. Rich Voss.
Unless Chris Kattan is the headliner, then you're the headliner from the middle.
the head middle. Yeah, that's a
spicy off the top.
Wow. No kidding. We were just talking about both of us have opened for Chris Kattan in the past. Good guy. That was all we had to say. Is good guy. I actually did like him.
I opened for him, and he murdered, and he's a great comedian with great punchlines and clever setups and unique takes. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I didn't say anything other than that. Nothing I said contradicts that, not even for a moment. Anyways, big weekend for Seattle sports. The Seahawks beat the 49ers.
Torrent. The Torrent.
The Torrent?
You guys don't even know the Torrent.
I don't know the women's hockey team, right?
Oh, yeah, the Torrent, of course. No, of course I knew the Torrent. I knew the Torrent, and Chris Kattan is an original and incredible comedian. This is no good. This is we already have one laugh emoji. We've done our job. So the Seahawks beat the 49ers decisively for the second time in a couple weeks. I'm going to make a comparison because I know you guys are both big Pete Carroll fans. In fact, because of you two, I listened to the Pete Carroll audiobook, the Win Forever audiobook, months before he got fired. I put the nail in the coffin on Pete Carroll's career. But one of the things, I think Pete Carroll had a lot of great virtues. I'm a big Pete fan, belongs in the Hall of Fame, belongs in the Seahawks Ring of Honor, love the man. He used to say this thing that bugged the shit out of me, which was that you can't win a game in the first quarter, that's just not true. You can do everything you need to win a game in the first quarter. That game proved you could do anything you need to win a game in the first 13 seconds of a game. The way the Seahawks used to play is they would play like a predator that wanted to bat around its prey and play with it for a while. And Mike McDonald's team, this is my comparison. It's like a crocodile or an alligator that grabs onto the opposing team and just drowns it mercilessly under the water. That's what it feels like to me compared to the Pete Carroll defenses.
Well, yeah, you saw that especially against 40-year-old quarterback Phillip Rivers. They just beat the shit out of him, and they didn't let go. And well,
it's not always going to work, but if you have the attitude, I think that that's huge because we literally we leaned into bend don't break for however many years, and then I'm a sort of the secret and power of positive thing, all that shit, because there's science behind it. It's not just there's actual all right, well, if we're all bend don't break, then that kind of plays out that way. And I know every team and city has their memes that are the same as the memes that we have in ours, but the ones with hey, heart attack all the way until we win and then we're happy. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah. Well, Cory talks about that a lot in golf, where it's if you think water, you're gonna hit water and stuff like that. That is what's funny about this Seahawks team, is that those memes of oh boy, my favorite sports team, I'm going to kill myself. Oh, yay, we won. This has been the least panic attack season, where it's every game you're this should be fun. And then it's we lose by 3 or we blow them out, so.
Yeah. Even the game against the Rams wasn't stressful because you just assumed they were going to lose for the whole fourth quarter. And then you're oh my God, I can't believe it.
Right. It was low expectations turned into, it's like when Andrew goes on a date, right? Like he is
sure.
They're not gonna sleep together, and then if she blows him, he's like, "Wow, this is crazy."
He goes on a date about as often as the Seahawks make it to the NFC Championship game.
Boy,
like
every
3 in a
10
decade,
years
maybe.
or so, we can really, and just like there was a stat that was like every team in the NFC but 5 have made it to the NFC Championship since we were last in there. So it's very true that with the women I date, almost everyone gets a turn before I do. So,
and just like the 2015 Seahawks, they usually pass.
Oh,
I know we were writing monologue jokes to start this thing out. Holy shit, this is great.
This is just what Cory does.
I don't write any in advance. I'm funny.
Cory, just Andrew inspires you to. Who do you guys want to play? So obviously they're playing the Rams, but who did you want to play in the NFC Championship game?
I mean, I wanted Bears. I wanted second-year quarterback, first-year head coach in our stadium who we hadn't played yet. So, yeah, I'll admit that's what I wanted. So
that is Cory. He always wants the easy ones. Who's gonna give it up on the first date? I'm in love.
Cory wants the easy ones, and he likes his dudes with fingernail polish. That's his preference.
Yes. Well, that's dangerous because you don't want any sort of chemicals up there. I didn't. Speaking of, I don't think Ben Johnson has the attitude of you can't win in the first quarter, but all season long, they've started games poorly and had nine comeback wins in the fourth quarter or something crazy. But anyway, I think he's probably great and gonna be great. And
well, he could win it in the first quarter, but he tries going for it on 4th and 3 every time he's on his own 30-yard line or whatever. So
Detroit.
When the Seahawks were going through head coaching candidates, Ben Johnson was like one of the top guys, and then he did the like it's not you, it's me thing where he's like, I'm actually not interested in the Seahawks job. That's because it seemed like they were pretty steadfast on waiting for McDonald to be out of the playoffs. I was a big Ben Johnson guy. I wanted Ben Johnson, and there's nothing from this year that makes me think he wouldn't have been a good coach in Seattle. But I do think it would have been fun to see those two guys, like the new offensive guru, the new defensive guru, go against each other instead of the third matchup. By the way, like not only second-year quarterback, first-year coach, also quarterback that hasn't really shown that he's like incredibly good. He had the one amazing play, but he also ends up with several plays that end up costing the Bears that game. But also, the Rams outplayed the Seahawks for 59 minutes, basically, in the previous matchup. And I know there's a lot made of this, like Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions and they barely lost. Yeah, but they got their asses kicked. The Rams defense knows something about Sam Darnold, very obviously.
It's interesting because Cory's usually a small Johnson guy, but I was looking at stats for this game, and we do have like the best offense and the best defense going at it together. So Caleb was always he was like Russell Wilson-esque, where he like makes these incredible game-changing plays, but then he misses the 5-yard out route that's like wide open. And on the interception, it was like, oh, you could have just run and you're already in field goal range. Like you could have just taken the thing. And he's like, I'm going to bomb it 80 yards downfield to a guy who's quit on every team he's ever been on.
Yeah.
And, but since 1975, the passing yards leader is 0-6 in the playoffs versus the number 1 scoring defense. And the last time the NFL's leading passer and the number 1 scoring defense met in the playoffs was the Seahawks and Broncos Super Bowl. So
yeah,
if it went that way, that would be very nice.
Yeah.
I know. Well, like nationally, that was a consider one of the worst Super Bowls ever, but I think Seahawks fans were owed a non-stressful Super Bowl, especially knowing what would come the next year. I think we earned the non-stressful Super Bowl.
Very similar to the SF game of like early on big miscue that leads to kind of a comfortable coast.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I looked it up, and last time a team from a warm weather city came to a city under 48 degrees on a Sunday afternoon game and won was 1942. So I think
was that in the Berlin games
set.
or what? What the? What kind of this stat's wild? Like, what are you?
All those historical stat things. It just doesn't. I mean, it's cool, but it's like it's just this team versus
it has
that
no
team,
bearing on the future, is what Cory's trying to say. But to be fair, Cory was alive in 1942, so he remembers that.
I know you've been charting that unrelated for years, so you had that at the ready.
Well, 42 was a good time for bald white guys. Europe. So,
well, it's about to be again. What do you have a prediction? Because I don't know if you saw this. There's that guy Oz the Mentalist, right? Every team hires at the beginning of the season, like some
entertainment,
some hack. Like
sure.
Cory does like a comedy show for the Browns or whatever.
Sure.
And,
Pete Carroll brings in Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. And so he predicted that the Rams would beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl 23-14.
Wow.
So I don't know if you believe in any of that magic.
Well, first off, people had to think that the Browns or the Broncos had to be the crazier part of that prediction.
Right.
Yeah. It was with the Rams and McVay that he did this?
Yeah.
Right. So Yeah.
You think he's trying to get rehired?
Do you think he's ever with the Browns and he's like, you guys are going to the Super Bowl?
Wait, did you say Browns or Broncos on the first part?
He said Broncos, yeah.
Okay, good.
Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still
possible.
possible.
When he gets hired by the Browns, he goes, I can tell the check is in your front pocket. I'm going to need that before we start,
Well, yeah. When I perform for a company holiday party, I say they're the best company in the country as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, next
Do you
year,
have a legit prediction though? Because Bo Nix being out certainly complicates things, but it's not like he was exactly lighting things up like as an amazing quarterback. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, just rewinding real quick on that. I mean, how much does Sean Payton hate Russell? I mean, he must just have hated Russell Wilson. He's got Bo Nix is young and talented and a good quarterback, but like, man, and then does he does he like this Stidham kid? Is he that guy's confident. That's kind of cool.
Stidham was there when Russ was there.
Yeah.
And Peyton was there originally. So I think at least he's got familiarity. I think that people are going to view that as they're a doormat, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that's a good team that has a really good defense that has a guy who's got experience in the system still playing quarterback there.
Yeah,
well, look at the Bo Nix versus Russell Wilson stats have gone viral, where they're like, they have the same touchdowns, the same interceptions, and the same passer rating in their first whatever games. But the only difference is Russell Wilson had 100 sacks versus Bo Nix has 40 or something like that. So, it was just like Russell Wilson was too old to actually do the Russell Wilson move around thing. So,
he was still trying. Who are our backup? Nick Foles. Who are backups to win a Super Bowl or do
Doug
well?
Williams, famously with Washington. Trent Dilfer, I think would he count as a backup? Did he?
He was starting, but he was I mean,
he was backup quality.
But was he the week one starter that year, or did he? I want to say there was an Elvis Gerback.
Could have been.
got 1 year in Baltimore. He played 1 year in Baltimore, 2000. And
Cory's going to pull out some quarterback from the 1930s again.
So he only started 8 games. So that says to me that probably he was not the week 1 start. I think it might have been Elvis Gerbeck. I might be right on that.
Hofstetter. Just kidding. Jeff Hostetler.
I got Steve Tony Hofstetter, Banks was the week 1 starter in Baltimore that year.
Well, hey, now that we got a ginger quarterback, I'm loving redheads all of a sudden.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. The Patriots are right back. It's just, it's a whole obviously different team system, coach and everything, but still frustrating.
Well, now the thing, I mean, according to the advanced statistics, like the Patriots have had the easiest schedule. They've never played equivalent of the Jets every week and stuff like that. So who knows what's actually going to happen there? But either way, we get to vanquish an old foe again.
Right.
So I mean, I would like it to be Seahawks versus Patriots, and then we beat the Patriots, and it'd be like getting over your ex-girlfriend in a way,
Right.
Not that I ever know what that's like, but
they just get under other people. I don't, but that's disrespectful to a bunch of women who I don't believe exist, for the record. But I'm going to give you an actual prediction so we can get to some chat predictions. I think it's going to be a tough game. The Rams are a tough matchup for Seattle, as we've seen all year. I think it's going to be really a tough. I'm going like 24-23 Seahawks.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Historically, do you have a third matchup? Does it ever go high scoring on a third matchup of the?
Well, it depends on the weather and the latitude and longitude of the. What's the gravitational pull at that point on the globe?
Yeah. I'll say 27-10 Seahawks.
Ooh, that's a 3-score victory. That is bold.
27-10. Yeah. I think the Rams score a touchdown on their opening drive, whichever way that is, and then it's tight. And we have proven to not. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a couple field goals. So what's the math on that? 17-20. Yeah, 23. 17 Seahawks.
Okay. So pretty similar to me. I'm going to get Nate Robbins says, if the Seahawks can't get pressure on Stafford, there's going to be problems because he will dissect. We're reading the whole paragraph. We're going to dissect the zone defense and coverage to death, which means which will mean long drives, which will mean they'll have opportunities in the red zone. I'm just saying he's too good of a quarterback to be denied. We really have to make things happen. We have to be opportunistic. And then he said, first of all, the Rams just came off of playing and like sub-zero temperatures. So 48 degrees is going to be like a day spa. Don't even think about it. All right.
I was doing a bit there.
I actually was not certain you were doing a bit, by the way. I thought that was legit.
Okay. Yeah. No, 42. The NFL didn't even exist in 1942.
Well, we've had like 3 bye weeks in a row, to be fair. Like we didn't play first week of the wild card. We played 2.5 quarters against the 49ers. Like we're they just played an overtime thriller. Puka Nacua was like halfway limping every time he caught the ball. Devontae Adams can't run deep anymore. I just don't think they can keep up.
All right.
I certainly think the extra day of rest and the playing 50 minutes instead of 70 minutes, playing your starters 50 minutes instead of 70 minutes is valuable. So Zach Charbonnet ends up going down, though. That's one problem. I mean, especially because I'm a person who believes that the run game matters, but the running back himself rarely matters. Like who that person is doesn't matter all that much. Once you've crossed the threshold of being athletic enough to be an NFL running back. I'm not saying that Andrew and I could go be Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
We know you're not running anywhere.
Well,
I am a walking back.
There's evidence to that end, though. I mean, backup quarterbacks or running backs step in and produce at similarly to starters every. I mean, this is basing mostly on fantasy football stuff, but like
sure,
that is numbers wise at least. And then you have your freaks, but like
Thomas Rawls season, baby, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name from the Chiefs is still plugging along every year. Like
Kareem Hunt, is that who you're thinking of?
Kareem Hunt is like it's why but he gets like, to be fair, he only gets like 3.2 yards a carry or something crazy low.
Isn't he first team, not DVOA, but domestic violence overall? Isn't he first team domestic violence?
I was trying to get there somehow. I couldn't figure it out. He really should have been a kicker, is the truth. Anyway, I do think Charbonnet does provide some. He's like, he runs over guys, that is a somewhat unique talent. And I wonder how much they're gonna because I believe this thing, but I don't think NFL teams agree with me. So I think that it's possible that they either overwork Kenneth Walker or they try to allocate more of their offense to the pass game. And I just think like the way the Rams have dominated Sam Darnold in the last 2 years in Seattle and Minnesota, I'm really worried if they have to crank up the pass game a lot, to be honest with you.
Well, that's Charbonnet was the pass pro specialist, which was every fantasy player was complaining because he would get the red zone stuff.
Yeah.
But that's where you needed his sort of, we might run it and we have a good running back, but this guy can also stay in and block. And so that's a little bit what I'm worried about. But ever since they fired their, the running back coach was, for personal reasons, let go. Kenneth has looked like a whole new running back. Like he's actually like found the hole, which is something I've struggled with in my own life. So, but he used to be so indecisive, and he would like not know where to actually run. And I don't know, this team of destiny, baby. We've got to get it figured out.
Andrew hasn't found the hole, not for lack of trying though. Just gets stuffed at the line a lot. Here, I'm gonna pull up. Nate Robbins has a question. All right, here's the question. And again, we're doing the whole paragraph. And listen, what I'll say about you, Nate Robbins, I don't know you.
You might be better at it.
I don't think I know you, but maybe I do, and I'm sorry the picture doesn't make it. What I appreciate is you do have punctuation in here, because this looks like the kind of message that would not have punctuation in it.
Charbonnet is my favorite sparkling wine, actually.
All right, here's the question.
All right.
Here's the question I have is that Puke is going to get his looks, obviously Puka, but I like this. I'm loving the nicknames for Puka Nacua in here.
Yeah.
But who are they going to lean on? If Puka gets shut down, who can they go to make up for the loss in production for the Rams? Consequently, we have to also look at Zach Charbonnet was the better running back against the Rams than Kenny. So can Kitty Walker, the third, step up and produce a dominant just 2 games? Okay, we lost the punctuation at some point, but okay. So a couple things
starting to kick in.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get to his next one. We got to understand the running style of running backs. Guys, I'm sorry, Ken Walker. I mean, we're losing the thread here a little bit. Anyways, we can get to this. Who's going to step up? I mean, Devontae Adams is one of the greatest receivers of all time. And I think because he hasn't played in the NFC West, we maybe don't appreciate him. I mean, he's like one of the greatest careers ever. And has also had a really good year. He's been banged up a couple times this year, but like has had a very good season in Los Angeles. So that's the guy. It's not just a single target. It's very different from Seattle, where they have like one dominant receiver. Seattle has one dominant receiver.
Jake Bobo and who else?
Yeah, Jake Bobo. Did they say he got his third reception in that game? That's crazy.
It was crazy.
And it was a crucial one too.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, how much is this recent injury that that they didn't rush him, but they took time to bring him back from?
Yeah.
Is that lingering? Is that fine? If he's 100%, he's very good, and he had a very good season. He's not He's not on the tail end. I mean, he's probably on the tail end of his career, I guess, but he's not. He could be a number one receiver on a lot of teams in the league, probably.
I also wouldn't take for granted that the Seahawks are going to be able to shut down Puka. He torched him last time.
Yeah, he's.
We did blitz a lot more than usual, and Mike McDonald said that he learned from that mistake on the last one. Devontae's mostly red zone threat at this point in his career, probably. I mean, he beat, I think, Josh Jobe on a double move on the last game, and then Stafford overthrew him because he was using a Kenneth Walker on the field. He was kind of slow, but I don't know. Maybe he got a lot of ice on his hamstring in Chicago when he was on the field. So
ice. I don't want any ice in the game.
Thought that was mostly Minneapolis, but
yeah. I mean,
I'm nervous. Because I feel the same way about the Mariners, where it was like all the lucky bounces and all the things that take to get to this specific point in the season. It's like you gotta finish it off. You can't, and this is a much more talented team, I think, than like the Mariners. We were all surprised, but halfway through the Seahawks season, we're like, oh, these guys are actually really good. I think we're gonna make a run.
Right.
I think as a Seattle sports fan, I just have the mindset that whatever I want isn't going to happen. Like I was watching yesterday's national championship game, and I'm not like tied to Indiana in any way, but I like kind of passively wanted Indiana to win. They were the underdog story. And I just immediately, Miami gets the ball with time to get down the field. And I was like, well, what I want never happens. So they are certainly going to go down and beat the Hoosiers. And did you real quickly as an aside, we'll get back to the Seahawks. Did you guys watch any of that game?
Yeah.
Maybe one of the most iconic moments, Fernando Mendoza running the ball, diving over the goal line, is maybe like a top 5 iconic moment in college football history.
It's certainly final
game.
I mean, I guess that's where most iconic moments come. But man, I couldn't believe he got right up and went to the sideline. Like, I mean, he just got hammered right dead center in the middle of his back, and that's that thing where you're like, so risky to stretch for the touchdown in those, because this goes back
like a 240-year-old man. It is risky to stretch in the morning.
Well, it goes back to my boomer belief of the worst rule in all of professional and college sports, I guess, where if you fumble there and through the end zone, it's a touchback. As pretty amazing. I can't remember. You got to remind me was that 4th and 5 or 4th and goal?
4th and 5, on the 8, something like that.
Right. So he had. That's what I thought, but he didn't have to dive and stretch. He had the first down, and that's. But hey, glory to God.
Well, what you said about his the hit, I don't think anyone else I've heard acknowledge that. Have you ever seen that video of Matthew Stafford? It's either his rookie or his second year, and he's playing for Detroit, and he gets hit on a play and then has to come in and like run the 2-point conversion, but they have to call timeout because he is writhing in pain, and so that there's like a raw video that's like uncut that's just him mic'd up, and you realize like what those guys go through. And I wonder, like you said, if they didn't score on that play, is he in there for the next down? Because he got smashed. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Jamie, insert that clip.
But I just watched because they were showing a Bella Danger every other camera angle.
Oh.
Cory didn't get that feed, apparently.
Oh, man. I've never heard of that person, actually.
Says the guy with the big dick behind him.
All I saw was his mom and his sweet moments with his mom. I don't know anything about this.
And his mommy, yeah.
I did make a comment on Twitter that I deleted because I didn't know his mom has MS.
MS, yeah.
And so I I made a comment that him and his, because they were like very dramatic in the stands. It was like very fun to watch.
Can't even stand up to give him a round of applause.
Well, no, it was like, I remember she was like, it was like she was fainting almost, and the dad was like celebrating with her, and I said they were performing a telenovela on TV, and then I realized that part of the reason might have been because we have friends with MS. It's not
after that hit, both of them might need wheelchairs after the game. You know?
Oh man. Real quickly, we'll get back to the Seahawks in a moment, but the one CT Bills fan says the Bills were robbed. Do you guys have feelings on the Bills?
That was a interception, or I don't understand why that's. I don't know what a catch is anymore, but
yeah. Well, I mean, okay. So this is where it gets interesting because you get Joe Burrow, you get Shannon Sharp, they're all like, yeah, that was an interception. And so you go like, all right, well, do they know more than me? Does the NFL, the referee plus the review team know more than me? Now there were other calls too, so it's not just that one call that the Bills are upset about and that Josh Allen's crying about and that his pregnant wife is ditching him for the Golden Globes for. But if you go to the ground versus being forced to the ground, that's the big difference, right? Because the next day there was a call in the other game that how is this different from the difference is go to the ground being forced to the ground. How do you determine go to the ground being forced to the ground? I don't.
So this is
good luck, right?
What I think is that the rules for a catch have never actually been more clear, but they've also never been less popular because the rule is very simple. The ball has to survive the ground. And in this case, the ball did not survive the ground. It ended up in his opponent's arms at the end of that. So I guess the question is, if that ball had fallen incomplete and not into his opponent's arms, would you have considered that an incomplete pass? Would that have been not surviving the ground? Because I think it's really obvious it would have been not surviving the ground.
If at the same moment it went into his opponent's hands, it went to the ground, would it have been complete? Yeah.
So, and I don't think it would have been controversial. I don't think anyone would have cared. I think it's the fact that they both were on the ground and the ball never hit the ground. It's a crazy play. I think they got the call right, and I think that the way they have a catch defined is the most objective and the most democratic. But I understand why people are pissed off. The Bills, I'm sure, were robbed at many points during that game. I gotta say though, like there are 10. There's not 10 openings, but there have been 10 coaching vacancies so far this offseason. And I mean, has there ever been 10? Is this the most turnover? I can't imagine that there's ever been more than that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a good question. We could have.
Or do you have a stat from 1912 you want to pull up?
He goes, in 1912, there was integration in the NFL, and Cory was against it, by the way, when he was out there at that time. But a lot of coaches got fired for comments unbecoming of the team.
John Gruden was coaching back then.
I think you're right, Matt. I've been very. It's wild how much. To me, they go to fire the coach. It's not just NFL, but lots of leagues. It doesn't seem to usually work out. I mean, Ben Johnson this year was a good. I mean, that's a good move, presumably. Vrabel, good move. But it's not like. You know, Carroll, terrible, like what, it's not a 1-to-1. You can't go because you don't know what would have happened the other way. So
I think a lot of teams are maybe copying the Seahawks of like, this guy's been here forever and he's good, but maybe there's something better, which is what Cory's marriage was like.
Did she find her Mike McDonald is the real question.
Yeah, but in the NFL, you're not allowed to have another coach come in for a couple games and try him out.
Two coaches at the same time. That's a good thing.
Cory's more of a two coaches high-fiving over the playbook guy anyway. So
what's the not the Statue of Liberty, but the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower,
Tower play.
Chuck Opp says, "Go Hawks." Andrew, can you hook me up for a ticket this weekend? We know they're available wherever they are. They are. By the way, where are you guys performing at? I guess that's a good question. Where are you performing at in the Seattle area? Because I assume that's going to be most of the folks listening.
I got nothing this weekend, but I'm in like Bremerton next week and Burien, and like wherever Scott Lossey's performing, I'm just gonna ride his coattails for a while.
I'm gonna try to steal those coattails from you at some point. But
Just Luke Severide, Scott Lossey.
Yeah.
Check. So, if you want to see Andrew's dates, go to Luke Severide or ScottLossey.com.
I do have some new merch though, so if anyone wants to go to my
I'm gonna need some of those.
That's exciting.
Those are sweet.
Great. People love stickers. They sell.
Yeah, it's the whole new thing. I don't have to carry. I'm not gonna carry around 80 pounds of t-shirts anymore.
I have magnets, and people like stickers so much that after I do my merch pitch, call them magnets, do a joke about putting them on your fridge to hold things up. They come up after and go, "Hey, you got those stickers?" And I'm like, I should have made these stickers. I'm an idiot. But I have Scott Lossey and Luke Severide and not Andrew Rivers this Friday in Michaelis, and then this Saturday in Everett, Washington. Everett, I have a show monthly there, everettcomedy.com. So I'm always in Everett. But nothing.
Chuck, hold on. Chuck Opp says Andrew is the best, but I need Seahawks tickets. That's my favorite one we've ever gotten.
I mean, have you looked at the prices for this game? It was
kind of funny. Maybe it saw but I threw it up on my story. It's like, I don't know why StubHub says this, but there was tickets for $1,700, and then it just said free on lap. And I was like, if you got half the money and want to sit on my lap the whole game, let's do it. If you don't mind, if you don't mind not feeling an erection during the game,
it's going to be under 40 degrees, so you don't have to worry about that with Cory.
Upcoming, I'll be at the Washougal Country Club, which I don't know if that's even open to the public. I'm opening for Nick Thune at Tacoma Comedy Club, and I'll be at Helium Portland with Gabe Rutledge at the end of February.
What's this Washougal gig?
We'll talk off the pod.
Okay.
But yeah, no, you'd be a good fit for it.
Well, I'm about to send out an email to all these golf courses to be like, "Hey, let me come do comedy for not that much money."
Let me ride those coattails. If we're gonna do any coattail riding, let me do the one where we get to golf for free.
That'd be the plan. I put on the image to a round of golf for 2. So as part of the payment. So,
is there anything else you want to talk about Seahawks wise before we? This is funny. Nate Robbins says, "Well, I thought since you quit smoking weed, you could probably afford tickets now."
Oh, nice.
Adam Rose, friend of the podcast, says, "Hey, Andrew Rivers, speaking of stickers, you still owe me the ones you were supposed to send me." Apparently, the memory has not kicked in dry January.
Go ahead and throw your home address up on the screen. We'll dox yourself, and we'll send you.
I think it's Beach Street in Everett.
Nice. Wow. Oh, geez. I just got my identity stolen. I don't know if someone opened up a personal loan for $8,000 in my name for Discover, and then paid off their Citibank loan with it immediately. And
I think Chuck Opperman's trying to buy Seahawks tickets.
Yes, well, I got to stop saying my social security number on stage. Maybe that's part of the problem.
I think the amount of people that go to your shows, you're probably safe. Chuck Opp, we'll get off the Hawks for a second. Great times. Nice to see the Hawks back with a great defense again. Still hoping for a Bucks-Hawks NFC Championship game in the future. That'd be great.
All right,
let's talk. It was going to be until Baker started getting old, and
he had an interesting season. I mean, again, when guys get hurt and then come back, it's just I don't know. I mean, first of all, is anybody ever at 100% in the NFL? I don't know how they would ever. It's just like even week 1, I'm like. Spring camp would put me down to 80 just for the start.
Yeah.
I had
take the whole camp.
Great question. I mean, I joke that I have terrible credit, but I was at perfect. I was at 850 plus. And whoever that is, great question. It went down. This is how quickly it went down. So I missed one payment on this loan that's not my loan because obviously I don't know about the loan. It went down from $850 to $660 for one missed payment.
Whoa.
And then a second missed payment was going to, or sorry, $700, and then the second missed payment put it down to $660. Anyway.
Regardless. Does the child support affect that at all? Or?
His parents still have to pay child support?
Yeah, I don't know. I used to date a few young women, so I guess I don't know. No kids that I know of.
All right, let's move on to the Mariners. Let's get away from Cory's dating life and let's go to a less fruitful. The Mariners got beat on a couple free agents again. I don't know that they actually put an offer in on Kyle Tucker or if they really had interest in Bo Bichette. But I think that fans who are not Dodgers or Mets fans are pretty quickly coming around to the idea of Major League Baseball needing some kind of salary cap. I was actually, if you're not to promote anyone else's podcast, but the Marine Layer podcast had a pretty interesting segment about the idea of a maximum salary cap, which is pretty obvious, but also a minimum salary cap, which is something that the NFL has. Yeah. That if you listen to their podcast, I don't think they perfectly understand the way the NFL one works, but in the NFL, you have to spend like 90+% over, I believe it's like a 3-year period. You have to spend 90+% of your payroll. So no team, the Bengals can't go with a 50% of the payroll every year and just collect revenue sharing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And obviously the NFL, not only is there a ton of parity in the NFL, but the NFL is bigger than all these other sports. It's surpassed all these other sports in this time of salary caps. And one thing they talked about on that podcast that I was not aware of is that the Dodgers specifically, because of the way the sale went when Frank McCourt and his wife were getting divorced, they get to keep some outsized amount of their TV revenue because there was a huge underestimate. So they make like $300 million extra dollars a year compared to a regular Major League Baseball team. So when you keep wondering, like, how the hell do they keep giving all these guys this money? And it's a joke every offseason that these top 2-3 guys are going to go play for the Dodgers. And then every year it actually happens and it's a less funny joke every year.
Yeah. And nobody goes the game until the third inning and they all leave in the sixth. And you're like, how are they doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
not the hot dog sales,
if you spread it across 9 innings, if you project them out to 9 innings, they have $1 billion payroll. So like, first off, I guess I'll start with this. I didn't want Kyle Tucker in Seattle. I was not a big Kyle Tucker fan, and the Mariners have a ton of outfielders that can't play defense. They have a ton of left-handed hitters. I was not like, there were people that really love Kyle Tucker. I was not one of those people. But not only did the Dodgers sign Kyle Tucker to a big contract, they signed him to a deal that was actually more than he's worth. Like, they overpaid for Kyle Tucker and signed him to a big deal when they already have all these deals. And it just feels like if you're a fan of any other team besides the Dodgers or Mets, that you're just hopeless at this point going into free agency.
Right. Well, I like your so NFL every year, not every team has a chance, but so many more teams have a chance in the NFL every year. I mean, what would you guess is the order of like parity in leagues? NFL number one.
It kind of depends with the NFL because the way the NFL works with the length of careers, you don't really get like 15-year stars in the NFL. So I think there's probably more parity year to year with the NFL, and I think going into a season, there's like 10 or 15 teams that really have a chance to make the playoffs and do some damage, right?
Right. But like, you don't go worst to first in the NBA ever.
I mean, you got to sign a bunch of stars somehow.
Yeah.
Have a ton of cap room.
I mean, even when the Heat were made the playoffs the year before they signed LeBron. And
probably the example would be like the Spurs when David Robinson got hurt and they got the first overall pick and had Duncan and Robinson and
So they came, so that's not bad. That's not, but it just doesn't. So, and you're right. There's other factors, of course, but obviously, but this like idea of, I mean, every year going into, you do see teams with low payrolls, though. You do see teams with that aren't that worst to first in Major League Baseball.
First in their division, maybe, but what's the last? They did this on the podcast, so it's unfair for me to. Can you think of the last small market team to win a World Series?
Is Arizona is Diamondbacks? Is that a small market, or is that? Phoenix. I don't know.
Phoenix.
They actually got screwed. I heard because they front loaded all the. Then they had to sell the team afterwards because they went broke from winning that championship or something.
The Rays
have not won a championship.
Hasn't won it. Okay.
So yeah, your winners are LA, Dallas. I'm saying the market. Houston. Sure. I know it's the Texas Rangers, but Atlanta, LA, Washington is probably technically the local market's pretty big. The actual population of Washington D.C. is pretty small, obviously. Boston, Houston, Chicago, Kansas City in 2015.
Oh, that's right.
So Kansas City goes the year before, loses, wins the next year. And then you're Detroit was in 2012, if that counts. But yeah, it's just been a long time, and the whole scope of baseball and RSNs has changed since then. So it's I don't know. I also don't know if the Mariners would technically be considered a small market team by this. So that's not necessarily the what we care about. But I also how do you guys feel right now about the Mariners offseason going into? So you go into it with Josh Naylor is a free agent. Eugenio Suarez is a free agent. Jorge Polanco is a free agent. I'm trying to think of who else they had on the roster that was a free agent of note. Harry Ford was a trade chip. So put all those things together. Where do you feel with Josh Naylor and Jose Ferrer being the two big acquisitions this offseason?
I think it's. I think we wanted Kyle Tucker, not because he's good necessarily, because he's not.
He is good.
3-win player, but
sure.
And him and Bo Bichette weren't any superstar, but we just were desperate for something because we were we got to capitalize on this moment. But then if Robinson Cano, all of a sudden he sucks and we paid $1 billion, we're going to complain about that too. So. I hate to say it, but I think they're building this the right way, and we can trade at the deadline if we have a good team and we can get those players on cheaper than overpaying at free agency. I think that's the best way to do it in baseball.
Yeah. I hate to say it too. I agree with you completely. I think if you look at this roster and you go, Eugenio Suarez was not on the roster at the start of last year. Josh Naylor was not on the roster at the start of last year.
Right.
Jorge Polanco had a very good season, but he was your DH. Tough position to be at and be better than league average. I don't think that they're really worse than they were last year. I think if you re-sign Gino, I'm not even stoked about that because he struggled so much in Seattle, and he struggled so much in his final season in Seattle before that. And
I do think you could get him maybe cheaper, Yeah, I don't know. Again, expecting the Mariners to do something different than what they've always done is kind of no, just give Trump Greenland and then he'll leave Canada alone. It's no. This is a personality trait. This is what you do.
Yeah, I think that I'm at a point with the options that are left. There was a dude named Willie Castro that I wanted the Mariners to sign a lot. He plays league average defense at 7 positions. That would have been great for them. He could have been. Or 6 positions, I suppose. But he could have been your starting third baseman to start the year. He would have been a defensive replacement for J.P. Crawford. I think that the most unspoken problem this team has is that J.P. Crawford for a couple years has been one of the worst defensive shortstops in baseball and is making money, and they don't have a replacement for him. And he also has enough, I think, hold on the locker room that it would be unpopular to bench him.
If you pay attention to the Instagram for the team, he's the best defensive player in.
Sure. Yeah, there were plays in that the ALCS where I was just I mean, an average shortstop makes this play easily, and JP doesn't
And
get a glove on
incredible. Maybe it was only incredible because he barely got there in time. But
also, I think the thing about him is he hits well enough. He's a very good hitter. He hits well enough that he could play DH. He could be part of like if what's his name, if Naylor needed a day off at first base.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think like very smart guy, very talented player. Like, could you play him in left field if you had to? Could you play him at first base if you had to? I think he could pick up both those positions pretty easily.
Isn't one of our prospects that's like gonna get maybe mid-season call, like September call up? Isn't he like the shortstop? Is it Arroyo who's supposed to be the next guy? Colt Emerson?
No, yeah, Colt Emerson. Adam Rose got to it before you did. He's so Cole Young was drafted as a shortstop, was projected to be like an average or slightly above average defensive shortstop. His defense last year, by the way, also statistically really bad. Rookie, 21-year-old.
Traded for an excellent ground ball pitcher.
No, I know that is a damper on the Jose Ferrer trade, is the fact that the infield defense is terrible. Ben Williamson statistically was good last year, not great. The scouting report is that he's a great defender. It didn't come through in stats in 500 plus innings last year, but I think I'm actually fine at this point with what's left on the market and what they'd have to give up to trade for Brendan Donovan or Nico Horner, who probably isn't even available. I would rather
Horner
they just
hits for average, so I don't know that that's not really what we.
Oh, get that shit out of here, man.
A lot of contact. It's very unappealing.
7 home runs, 300 hitter. Get out of
here. One of the league's best defensive second basemen, and I think the Cubs are smart enough to know that, and the Mariners, I would hate to see them have to overpay for that. Right. There's a big thing that frustrates me in sports, much like the you can't win in the first quarter thing, is when people think that they don't understand like the compound cost of trading a bunch of prospects for a player and then feeling because of that compelled to give that guy a huge contract so he sticks around. That's like double the problem, right? You've compounded the issue. And so trading a bunch of guys for Nico Horner, who's a free agent after 2027, and then extending him is double the problem. Tell Luke we said hi, Andrew.
Reminds me of an old Tommy Johnigan joke of like somebody and their girlfriend got pregnant and then he proposed, and it's like being like, shoot, we made it bad. Quick, let's make it worse.
Yeah. They talk about that in movies sometimes. Like, I think the famous example was The Sixth Sense. They had one particular scene that cost so much money to make and they ended up cutting it.
Whoa, quick spoiler alert, by the way, guys, on Sixth Sense, if you're about to
I don't know anything about the dead kid or whatever, but
what happened though?
I don't think Bruce Willis does either anymore, by the way.
Don't double down on a mistake just because it was expensive to make. So should we buy Greenland or what? I mean,
do you want to close it out with this is Andrew's topic of, is Felix Hernandez a Hall of Famer? Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer?
I do want to get my Greenland jokes off, because say the Dodgers are going to buy Greenland. It's like they would get way better prospects in Venezuela.
Oh yeah, that was a good tweet. I actually, when I had to like ask Grok if something had happened, did the Dodgers actually buy Greenland? What is going on?
Are you an Ask Grok guy? Oh no,
it wasn't Grok. It was the other one, ChatGPT, I think, or Facebook.
I posted that one, and then that one's doing well on Instagram actually. As like, I'm trying to copy Dustin Nickerson, where he takes his tweets and then he reads them to his camera. I think he's very good at that.
You should just take his jokes. You already have his glasses.
I know.
I didn't realize I was supposed to wear glasses on the podcast. Sorry, guys.
Thank you for apologizing.
What did I post that had? Oh, there was a meme I posted of Dodger Stadium with Iranian nuclear site, and it's got 7,000 comments, and all the comments are very fun to me because they're like, I'm a Dodgers fan and a Republican, and even I think this is funny. And I'm like, why are they qualifying their enjoyment of a meme? Like, what is the offensive part? The invading or the
right.
like the bombing, is that the like? Oh, we're cool with the bombing, but
yeah. Which part are they? Would we assume they didn't like as a
Right.
Republican? They don't even know. I think that might be part of the problem.
Right. Or they're just like, Republicans don't have a sense of humor, but even we think this is pretty funny.
Listen, we know Andrews fans are okay with the bombing. Okay. That one was
my favorite part of the Obama presidency was the drone strikes. Oh, that's not great. Well, I don't think, which is funny about stuff like that is, are people, I didn't see the comments, but are people like, are people saying things like, you shouldn't, this isn't funny, you shouldn't?
No, there's not a lot of like
that.
It's just like, I'm a liberal and I think this is funny. I'm a Braves fan and I think this is funny. And it's like everybody's qualifying it. And I'm like, you can just laugh. You don't have to like, imagine at a stand-up show if everyone was like, I have a service dog and even I think this is funny. Like,
right.
That's all I really care about is like the like and the follow my page. I think I checked my analytics because I was seeing if I got follows from it, and it was going up, and then I made a joke about like, I'm a liberal dork that thinks, whatever, and Trump's a fucking idiot, and then I saw a little dip, and I was like, I should have just left it, and then, yeah.
Adam Rose is on the board, says Jerry DePoto's buying 54% of Greenland. That's good. Nate Robbins, we'll get one more from Nate Robbins before we oh god, I'm actually scared to read this one now. I put it up without reading it. What I want to know is why we are being distracted by all this bullshit. Why can't we? Oh, okay, this is a wrong place. Wrong place to have a sincere political discussion.
My Facebook
I'm a comedian, and even I thought that was annoying.
All right, so Felix Hernandez is probably not going to make the Hall of Fame this time around, but what I've heard made a big jump.
The results are supposed to come out today, maybe, right?
Yeah, that might be right. Probably not going to make it to the Hall of Fame this year, but your question, I mean, I guess your question is he going to make the Hall of Fame? Is Russell Wilson going to make the Hall of Fame? These are two guys. The reason you lump them together, I assume, is because these are two guys who at early in their careers were on obvious Hall of Fame trajectories. That if they just had league average careers till the age of 35, would have been surefire Hall of Famers, both of whom, for very different reasons, fell off of a cliff. Felix Hernandez just lost his effectiveness, velocity dropped, and stopped being a good pitcher.
Well, Felix was carried by an elite defense too. Everyone knows that, but
sure. And a ballpark that really propped up his. Felix Hernandez is tough because I think if Felix started his career 5 years earlier, his career looks very dominant. But the end of his career where he started to lose velocity was at the beginning of that launch angle revolution where everyone started to adjust their swing plane to be able to hit sinkers. And his best pitch was like a sinker and a changeup that acted like a sinker. And yeah, that's
really, I never really thought about it like that. That's pretty advanced analytical analysis there.
Well, it's not 1942's.
Andrew is Moneyball for his Facebook analytics. He does, but he doesn't.
I thought you were going to say Andrews only likes analytics for the anal.
I guess that's the, we have all these fancy stats like wins above replacement. Do we get like a losses because of Mariners stat too? Is there like and we say like, dude, he would have won 300 games, but he played for a dog shit team. But,
well, do you remember early in his career, he was like knuckle curve, four-seam fastball, and then he turned into like a much more finesse pitcher. And maybe that had to happen. Like I think that a lot of those guys come out throwing flames. Steven Strasburg comes out as like one of the most heralded prospects ever, and then flames out very quickly. Tore his UCL, I think, partway through his rookie season. Famously, by the way, when Nolan Ryan was like, these new pitchers are pussies, and then he has he needs Tommy John surgery, like he needs the thing that everyone's worried about. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess the main thing is like Felix had probably one of the most dominant 7 years of a career, but does that count toward, is it like the size of the boat or the motion of the ocean, you know?
Yeah, it's peak versus longevity, and what's the combination? And I think that, like, for Felix, I think that the peak was high. And I think with Russ, you always assumed that there would be like a next step and that he would have a long career because he was such like a smart player that seemed to be able to adapt to his size and his limitations. And then that stopped happening, obviously. I'm like blown away by the Russ thing because it makes me wonder, like, did we underappreciate Darrell Bevell? Did we underappreciate the guys that were around when Russ was successful? Because was he always bad, or was it that, did he stop understanding the playbook as thoroughly, or what happened to Russ?
I mean, there was a year where we let him cook, and then halfway through the season, he started throwing too many interceptions, and then they yanked him away from that. So there's always that what if.
His final season with us statistically was a little something else. Okay, so it wasn't that bad. It was really good. It was like Pro Bowl level statistics. So we were onto something about getting rid of him, obviously, and moving on. And I just don't want to make the Hall of Fame because I don't want to hear that cheesy ass speech. I can't.
All glory to God. I love Jesus.
I could do it.
And my teammate's girlfriend. And
well, so here's a stretch for Russell Wilson. 2017 to 2020, his final season in Seattle, 34 touchdowns, 35 touchdowns, 31 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns. Sorry, 21 is his final season in Seattle. He has 25 touchdowns and 6. And he finally misses some games that year too.
Only 14 games that year, right?
Yeah, played 14 games. And made the Pro Bowl all but 2016. Like, he made the Pro Bowl every year. So you got a guy that when he leaves Seattle, he's a 9-time Pro Bowler. He's a 3-time All-Pro. Probably should have been a Rookie of the Year. He's getting votes for Offensive Player of the Year.
Quarterback to 100 wins.
Right. And so everything says he's on this trajectory. But now he's sitting here, maybe never plays. You know what? I think there's no starting job he's going to go get. He's not going to go win a starting job anywhere. So if he was going to become a starter, it's probably got to be he's got to go back someone up who gets injured and then impresses and then plays for a half a season and then maybe sneaks his way into a starting job after that. But even that seems pretty unlikely. So if we assume that the end of his career is going to be 353 touchdowns-ish, 114 interceptions-ish, almost 47,000 yards, those just aren't Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah,
anymore.
Is there a comp? I mean, that is in. I guess that's kind of.
Yeah, well, the big comp at a point in his career was Matt Stafford, and I actually did. If you guys had to guess, don't look it up right now. How many Pro Bowls do you think Matt Stafford has played in?
Well, played in,
or been voted to?
5.
Yeah, I'd say 8.
3.
That's crazy. I mean, based on how you asked the question, I knew I was wrong, but
But is Pro Bowl? I mean, what is the Pro Bowl? Is not necessarily the indicator.
It's a thing that counts towards. I mean, achievements count towards Hall of Fame viability.
He is so underrated to me. I mean, that might be indicative, but he is so good. And, I mean, I don't know why it wasn't on Pro Bowl like almost every year in Detroit because I'd have to go look again, but numbers wise, it seemed like he was. But he was also thrown in an era of Brady and Manning and
So that's the other thing too, is like, do you compare, should we take guys out of Hall of Fame because they bat 300, but it was 1942 and everyone weighed 300? Like, is that fair to be like, because that's like the LeBron and Michael Jordan argument where it's like, Michael Jordan played against plumbers and electricians and stuff. Like, when you look at the athlete comparison of.
Well, I think your boomer argument's like 40 years late on the plumbers and electricians thing, but I get your point, which is, I do think that the level has changed, but I mean, you're talking like, so should David Bell be a Hall of Famer because he had more home runs than a Rogers Hornsby or something like that? I don't think so. I think it's era dependent for sure. Yeah. I don't think you're pulling anyone out of the Hall of Fame. But
what are we gonna do about pitcher numbers? Like, how are we? I mean, it's already pitchers numbers that's the biggest probably difference over time of any sport and position.
I
maybe
don't know if
quarterback.
Is Verlander close? I mean, I think there's a lot of people that think we're never going to see another 300 game winner.
Right.
I think that like the pitcher
They're not
stats
letting starters go deep anymore, really.
Right. So yeah, I think they're going to change. I think that it's going to be era dependent. I don't think you're going to leave every pitcher out.
Right. Of course.
Because they don't have whatever it is, 5,000 strikeouts or something like that, or 300 career wins.
I have a question.
If
Aaron Rodgers gets in the Hall of Fame, do you think he puts in a Packers jersey or a MAGA hat?
What isn't it something like there's only one kicker in the NFL Hall of Fame? Am I way off?
I don't know.
Well, why aren't there punters in the Hall of Fame of NFL? Why aren't there kickers? Why aren't there fullbacks? Like, that seems crazy to me.
They're not flashy enough stats, yeah.
But like, shouldn't it be? I don't know. I guess, but I don't. With the same DH, we really devalue DH in baseball. Now both leagues have it, so will that change? It just seems a little, especially with how different the positions are in NFL. Like, just no kickers get in. That's crazy. Like, shouldn't there be the best kickers?
Let's see. I mean, Adam Vinatieri's got to be in there. Let's see how many kickers are actually in the.
Yeah, I might be way off. Or punters, maybe I was thinking of something like that. There was no punters.
Yeah, I suspect you're probably right that there's no punters, and it's probably just simply because. So there's only a few kickers: John Stenerud, Morton Anderson, Gary Anderson.
Yeah.
Cory had him on his fantasy team in 1942. Actually,
looks like Vinatieri is not in, and then they said the Google AI says Justin Tucker, and I have a feeling he's going to have a hard time. He might have to massage his way into the home.
He had a hard time.
He had a hard time early in his career.
Should there be a morality clause? Like, what do you think about Barry Bonds? Is he?
Well, Barry Bonds' morality clause is different than Barry Bonds. What he did, the argument is that he fucked up the integrity of the game.
Right.
The morality clause, I mean, like Curt Schilling. If you don't think Curt Schilling is on steroids, he's just in because he's like a right-wing lunatic. Or he's out because he's a right-wing lunatic, right?
Right.
And I'm not even calling all right-wing people lunatics. I'm saying he is particularly, that's the reason he's out. He would say that. His body of work has earned him a spot in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And I am a big Hall guy. I want Barry Bonds in. I want Alex Rodriguez in. I want Curt Schilling in. Pete Rose. I want Pete Rose in.
Just because you have the same body type?
I would dream to have Pete Rose's body type. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I think a lot of that's real silly that they're not, and I don't. I don't know.
I think the doing steroids of the early 2000s is the playing against plumbers of that time, where it's like it's just the reality of that era. And I'm fine with every steroid user having it mentioned on their plaque or whatever, but I just don't think you can leave them all out. Alex Rodriguez was a fucking steward of baseball for a couple of years. There's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who love baseball, and it started because they watched Alex Rodriguez play baseball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
Russ
is out.
I guess it is a depiction of the era. I mean, they're not letting starters pitch deep anymore. They're not letting them commit crimes anymore. It's just times are changing. It's hard.
I'm going to give you guys, if I can find it really quickly before we there's a stat by a guy named Jay Jaffe that is like Hall of Fame worthiness called Jaws.
I had the same one from Pro Football Reference pulled up.
Oh, nice. So you tell me where Russ falls and I'll tell you where Felix is.
Okay, so on this one, they say they made up a stat, a metric designed to estimate a player's chances of making the Pro Football Hall of Fame using AV, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Championship, and various stat milestones. Tom Brady's, they say the average is 100, and that's basically Hall of Fame level. Tom Brady is a 263.
Okay.
And then
what did he ever do?
I don't know. He's a pretty good broadcaster, though. Russell Wilson's 94.8 right now. That they have Matt Stafford is 95.6.
That's crazy.
Terry Bradshaw is 95.6, but he's in. Bart Starr is 97.9. Ben Roethlisberger is like 100.2. That's kind of like their basic bar minimum Hall of Famer. But they have Kurt Warner in there, who's like 88.7. And Eli Manning will probably be Hall of Fame. He's 87.
So if you look at the baseball one, if you go down this list, as you get to like the 68th ranked guy in Jaws, you start to get to a part of the leaderboard where most of the guys are not, of a large portion or a large majority of guys are not in the Hall of Fame. And Felix is ranked 97th. He's got a Jaws score of 44.1, and then as you go up, I mean, it doesn't look good for Felix in that regard, but I think that the way that the stats or the votes are trending, I think he'll probably get in. Just, I don't know that he deserves it more than Russ does, frankly.
What's easier? Wouldn't you say it's easier in the NFL to get in?
I think NFL is a big Hall of Fame league. I think that's right. So that'll probably help Russ. Russ may be less deserving in a small Hall league, but there's years when it's like one Hall of Famer or two Hall of Famers going in.
How do they decide? Because I know the baseball writers are dicks, and they're like, I'm not letting you be unanimous because my favorite player wasn't unanimous or whatever. But is the NFL the same way, petty like that? Or is it like a committee?
That's a good question. We can, whatever the next version of this podcast, whenever it happens, we should all research. We'll come back for
I don't want to prepare for this. I just want to write 3 jokes and squeeze them into the topics and then make fun of Cory the whole time.
Yeah, this is wild. Wait a minute, if he would have retired sooner. Not sure what that is, but it says like if Russ would have just stopped playing and that got all this public, nuance about him. So I do think if you go like the Thurman Munson rule, Thurman Munson, great Yankees catcher, dies in a plane crash.
42.
If Russ dies in a plane crash, in 2021, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. We project him out to like an average quarterback or better for the rest of his career, and he's an easy Hall of Famer.
Well, I know what I would do if I had a time machine.
All right, I got to go pick up my kids.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Cory Michaelis Comedy on Instagram.
Yeah, at Cory Michaelis Comedy.
At Andrew J. Rivers, I'm Casey McLean Comedy. Thanks, guys. Bye.